Hi everyone, my name's Corey and I am the owner of the Cat's Meow Wreath Boutique. First, I want to say thank you if you purchased this Witch Hat Wreath kit from me. I really appreciate it. I really hope that you have a lot of fun making it. Don't be intimidated if this is your first time making a wreath. Just have fun with it. Don't take it too seriously. Crafting isn't perfect. So if you make a mistake, you can just go ahead and redo it. It's no big deal. I also want to just have a little disclaimer here that I am in my living room recording this, and I do have cats and I have a dog, and of course I have family members that could be coming in and out of here. So if you do hear them, just know this is real life. This is, it may be a recording, but things happen, right? Okay, so let's first go over if you purchased a wreath kit, what you can expect to have in it. So first we're gonna have this plastic witch hat. It's a perfect size, especially once we get it decorated with the legs on. It's gonna be a nice presence on your door. We're gonna use about half a roll of this black mesh, and that's gonna go around the top. Around the top here, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it. You'll also have received pre-cut 6-inch mesh. Now, if you ordered the purple and orange kit, this is what you'll get. I know you see the green here, but as you'll see when we make the ruffles, the green kind of disappears, unfortunately. So it turns into a purple and orange. If you ordered the black and orange kit, you'll have received, again, 6-inch mesh, but you'll receive 2 bundles. One is black and one will be orange. Okay, what else do we have here? Here are the pipe cleaners. You have enough pipe cleaners to wrap around and attach to all the ruffles we'll be making. Let's see, here are our witch legs. Super cute. They're a little wrinkly, but don't worry about it. When you stuff them, they'll be fine. With the witch legs, what I've included is I have cut out 2 more felt feet. And what we're gonna do is we'll go ahead, you'll see later, we'll go ahead and glue them on the back of here. And that way we can make our legs puffy instead of just kind of flat and hanging there. You'll also receive 2 pieces of felt. And what these are gonna be is once we're done with the witch legs and stuffing them, we'll go ahead and put them in here, fold it over and glue it, and then we'll go ahead and attach it to our witch hat. For decorations for our wreath skirt, our hat, you'll have received 7 each of purple and black. Again, if you have the orange kit, you'll have received orange and black. We're gonna make 6 bundles that will go inside the rim of the hat, and then 1 that will go as a decoration at the top of the hat. You'll also receive zip ties. We're gonna use those to attach the black mesh to the top of the wreath hat. We're also gonna use these to attach the legs. I'm also gonna show you a little trick because the witch hat, the top of it can be a little tricky in keeping the mesh even, wrapping around it and smooth. So I'm gonna show you a trick on how we can make that process a little easier. Also in the kit is this cute little pick. Now you can choose to use it or you can choose not to. You can use it all as one to stick into the witch hat somewhere. What I'm gonna do is cut all these off individually, maybe, and put them in there. I haven't decided yet, but even if I don't use it, this is obviously in your kit, so you can use it as you see fit. Remember, crafting is what you like. Everybody can show you different tips and tricks, but at the end of the day, you can't do anything right or wrong. However you wanna do it and how you want your end project to look is completely up to you and is completely okay. So not included in the wreath kit, but something that you can use around your house. You might, I just use this dowel rod, and this is what I'm gonna use to help me stuff the witch legs. You're also going to need some scissors. I have wire cutters. That's what I prefer to use to cut the backs of the pipe cleaners off once we attach the bundles. But you can use scissors, so that's completely up to you. And one more thing that is included in the wreath kit is this fun bow. So we're gonna put that on as well. So I'm just, oh, almost forgot. Our fun spider that's gonna dangle down from the top. How fun is he? Again, if you have an orange and black wreath kit, you'll have either an orange or purple spider. I haven't put the kits together yet, so that's why I say orange or purple. And the bow will be a little bit different, more highlighting the oranges, excuse me, of your wreath versus the purples. All right, so I'm going to be back in just a second. I'm going to clean up my work area and then we'll get started. Okay, so now in your wreath kit, in the opening part, I showed you a full roll. You'll get half a roll of the black mesh. You only need a half a roll. So the trick here, so with this kit, all of this can be purchased at the Dollar Tree if you would like. But just so you know that, like, I'm recording this, it is, sorry, we've got my cat here trying to join us. Like I said, could make appearance. When you're crafting, I know, especially now, so today is September 24th, 2022. So if you're seeing this video now or even in the future, you know, Dollar Tree crafts are wonderful. They really are. I use a lot of Dollar Tree items in my crafting and in my shop as well. They've really upped their game. They do have some really nice stuff. But one thing is their mesh is not always the best quality. I do use their black mesh for the top of these witch hats, and that's perfectly fine. It does great coverage. But for these wreath kits, I wanted something that had a little bit more of a shine. So I went to Joann's and they actually have their Halloween 75% off. So this roll only costs $2 for 10 yards. At Dollar Tree, you get 5 yards for $1.25. So even though, you know, it's not even October yet, Joann's and even Michael's and Hobby Lobby, they already have their stuff marked down. So it does make it affordable and you get a little bit better of a product. So see how nice this is? Let me see if I have a Dollar Tree thing here. I don't, sorry. But anyway, so just, you know, keep in mind that these stores, the craft stores, always, you know, put things on discount even before the season starts. Okay, so I don't know what he's doing. I apologize. And just so you guys know, I do have an Etsy shop, Cat's Meow Wreath Boutique. You can always check me out. You can check me out on Facebook and TikTok and Instagram, oh, and Pinterest. So I'm on all of them. But it's important that if you are making these and selling them, if you do have pets in your household, you should put that in your listing. And I do. I clearly have it stated in my listing that my items are created in a pet-friendly home. Because as you see, my cat just walked by here. And if there's somebody who is highly allergic to animals or cats, you know, that could be an issue for them. Some are very sensitive to it. So just be mindful of that. That's my little PSA for this project. I don't know, maybe I'll have another one. Okay, so let's get down to business and start doing this. So now what I used to do is fold these in 3. And then put them on the hat. Just because I liked the thicker coverage, but it's very much a pain in the butt. So I started doing just half, but in the beginning, what you're gonna wanna do is fold it in half, and then just scrunch it up. Don't be crazy, you know, you want to keep it neat because you want your mesh to lay nicely. So we're gonna go ahead and just pinch it till it's all grouped together. Sorry, I'm still learning where my camera is. So here's that. Now we're gonna take our zip tie. In the kit you have 4-inch zip ties, but I've used all of mine, so I'm having to use the 8-inch, which not a big deal. And what I'm gonna do is, do you see these bars here? I'm gonna attach it in the back. So here's the front, and you see how it has a little bit of a curve? So I'm gonna put it in the back. That way this little, the tip of the zip tie here is hidden in the back. It doesn't poke out. We want it to be nice and smooth. Okay, so we're gonna flip this over. Let me go ahead and zoom in here so you can get a better look. So we're gonna turn this over, and as you see, maybe, I have put this, you know what, I actually put it in the wrong area. I'm glad I zoomed in on that. I put it on this bar here, the top bar. Now I'm going to just lay my mesh there and zip tie it. You want to make sure that you have all the edges in your zip tie. You don't want, because we will be pulling, not really hard, but we're going to be pulling firm. So we don't want that to fall out. And I just use my wire cutters. Again, you can use, you know, regular scissors, that's fine as well. What I like to do, just because I don't want anything to prevent our mesh from looking nice and smooth, I just trim that little bit of extra off. So now you're going to go ahead and just fold your mesh over. Now I keep my mesh this way on the table. If you prefer, you can do it this way. You know, just practice around, you know, near the end, it's gonna, regardless of how you do it, it's gonna be a little bit of a pain in the butt. So what we're gonna do is I take this, but I twist it just because I want this edge pointed down. Just because as we wrap it, you'll see that this gives a nice smoother edge. If you want, if you like the way that looks and you want your witch hat to have a little bit, you know, more texture in it, feel free to do that. Remember, this is your project. You can change it and do it how you see fit. So now what we're gonna do is we're just going to take this, and you don't need to worry, like you see how this little foil is moving around here? Don't even worry about it. So just hold this with one hand, and then you're gonna wanna turn it. I probably should have had a lighter background here, not this dark cutting board. So then just turn it again, and that's all you're going to do the entire time. I know it seems a bit easy and straightforward, but it really is. And you just wanna, I give it a couple turns here at the top, just because I don't want you to be able to see through this frame. And you're gonna, here's my other warning, be gentle with this frame. It's plastic and it can break easily. So, and if that happens, again, not a big deal. You know, you can just keep moving on. So, see how that was a little bit loose? I don't care for that personally. So, just gonna go ahead and do that again. I am gonna show you a trick. Clothespins. Clothespins are a crafter's best friend. So I'm gonna put that on there right now and hold it, just because I'm not really liking how this is going, how my mesh is laying. So I am going to, see, flip it over. So instead of putting it the other way, so now if you find that you're having difficulty holding the mesh together in half, use a clothespin. Let go of this one and just wrap it around. And keep wrapping it. Now you wanna, if you can tell, I'm doing it a little bit on an angle. Because this is curved, and this is what makes it tricky, is, there you go. Let me just move this. Now, let me just use this here. Because the mesh is now rolled this way, you're gonna wanna grab something just to set it on here. I'll just show you. A good friend of mine got this for me. How adorable is that? So I'm just gonna use that to hold my mesh. And just fold and keep turning. This is tricky. I'm not even gonna say it's not, but just, you know, keep trying to hold it taut. Fold it over. Get it, you know, see, you don't want it to be like that. If you do, it can give extra texture, and that's fine too. Again, everything here is just your preference. I'm giving you a guide on how I do this. Witch hats seem to be pretty popular at craft shows and on Etsy. And, you know, my friends also are big fans. So it's a cute wreath. It's an inexpensive wreath to make, and it's a good size. It's not too big, it's not too small. I tend to make wreaths that are a little bit on the larger side. So it's good for me to have something like this in my shop and at a craft show. I'm gonna zoom out here. Oops, that's in. Just so you can get a better view of how I'm holding everything. These wreaths are actually a good size to go between the storm doors. You know, a lot of northern families, northerners we'll call them, you know, they have a screen door. Okay, sorry about that. Like I said, life happens. So all you want to do is keep holding. Make sure you get a good look. I have it folded and I'm holding it with my 2 fingers. And I'm just using it and smoothing it down and just flipping it over. And you're just gonna wanna sometimes see how when you don't hold it tight enough, it loosens. Just grab it from the back, pull it tight and hold it over here with your 2 fingers while you're folding this. Then I crawl back up. And then fold it over. So now as we've gone from the curved part and we're going more towards a straight part, it's not wanting to line up as easily and nicely as it was before. So here is where I'm gonna show you a trick. You don't wanna do it on the front side though. You wanna make sure that you have the back side. And what you're going to do is take your mesh and just bunch it up. You're gonna take one of the zip ties and you're going to put it under here on the second here, see, so you can get a good look right there on the second bar, and you're going to put your mesh there. See, you have your mesh, and you're just going to make sure you put your zip tie on the right way. Let me flip this over here. I'm just gonna redo it real quick. Sorry about that. No one's perfect, right? So we're going to have it bunched up. Now, see how mine loosened? It's kind of hard to see. So what I'm going to do is just go back a little bit and rewrap those couple things, only because I do like mine nice and smooth. So then, while holding it tight, and again, don't be afraid to use a clothespin, a chip clip, anything you have on hand. You can hold it there to make sure it stays nice and tight while you secure your zip tie. Okay. So now with this like this, before you even let this loose and cut this, go ahead and take another zip tie and put it on this first bar. See how I have that on the first bar? Here's where we put the other one, secured it, but this one we want to put here. Okay. So now we're going to let go of the clothespin and we're going to trim. Hang on to this. You want to make sure you hang on to this tightly, or you can readjust it like I just decided to do at the last minute. You can get it to where it's laying nice. Go ahead and scrunch it again. And what you're going to want to do is lay this into your zip tie like you did before when we first started. I'm going to take it, secure it. Again, you want to make sure you do this on the back just in case it doesn't lay as smooth as we wanted, and it gives it, you know, a space for that little I guess the nub or whatever you want to call it, the connector for the zip tie. And then just go ahead and cut this extra away. And then what you do is kind of push it up. You want to push it up here. And then just start over. You're going to go like you did, like we have been. Hold it. I have my mesh messed up here somehow, so let me untwist it. Pinch it together. It doesn't have to be even, you know, if one's above like that, doesn't matter. And just go ahead and go over that one time. And continue to hold it. And continue to wrap it around. See? Can't even tell. If you find that you're having a hard time with the mesh staying folded over nicely, because this is on an angle, so they end up not being completely straight with each other, feel free to do that trick like I just showed you. I probably will do it one more time during this project. I used to not, and I just used to fight the whole way down and ask myself, why would I do that to myself? Crafting's supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be hard. You're supposed to do this to relax and de-stress. So if you're feeling like you're stressing out, you need to just take a breath and remind yourself that this is fun. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and finish this up, and then I will be right back so we can go ahead and make our ruffles and then attach our ruffles. Okay, so I've made it to the end, and as you see, I'm using my little helper of the clothespin here and here. I have the front, and now here's the back. I did not have to do our little trick where we cut and re-secured it with the zip tie. It worked out for me, but if you had to do it a couple times, that's fine as well. It's just a little trick to help you, and use it if you need it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first remove my helper clothespins. I have my end of my mesh. I'm going to take my other zip tie. I'm just going to, you know what, let me put the clothespin back on there so we don't lose that. Let me see. So this bar right here, it's hard to see, there we go. This bar right here, you're gonna wanna go ahead and put your zip tie through there. And then what we're going to do, let go of our clothespin. Like we did with the previous times, we're going to place our extra mesh there and secure it with the clothespin, or I'm sorry, our zip tie. Okay, sorry about that. Needed to close the door of the laundry room. So now we're just gonna go ahead and clip off the end of the zip tie and trim our mesh. Okay, so there we have it. If you need to, you can go ahead and don't be afraid to gently scoot down your mesh if you want it closer to the bottom here. But I'm letting you know right now, you're not gonna need to be too concerned about that. Let me zoom out a little bit, because now what we're gonna do is we're gonna work on our ruffles for our little skirt of our hat. These are about 15 inches long, and I like to put something on the end just to hold it still. And if you've never worked with deco mesh before, let's just say that it's a little tricky. Sorry, I'm having a little technical difficulty here. There we go. So, it moves a lot, it frays, and it can just be difficult sometimes. And with this foil, it makes it a little more loose. So what you're gonna wanna do is use the middle as a guide to make the ruffle. It's easier if you don't have nails, but I do. So what I do is I pinch, and you wanna make little pinches. That way you have more of a ruffle. If you like the bigger, like a wavier look, then you can go ahead and grab them in bigger bunches. But what we're gonna do is pinch and just keep pinching. Now I use my other fingers to kind of hold the other sides straight, because it's really important that this is straight, and that way you get a nice ruffle. I've noticed when you use 6-inch mesh and make a ruffle, it's less forgiving than if you had a 10-inch ruffle. Not sure why that is. So then what you're going to do is you're gonna have this. You have it pinched, So you're going to take one of the pipe cleaners, and then you're going to just fold it in half so it looks like a V, and place it in the center. Flip it over like so. Be gentle, you don't want to let this go. If you do, it's okay. You can just do the ruffle over. Pinch the two ends together and flip it over. Pull. You don't want to make it too snug, because what you want to do right now is you want to just form your ruffle a little bit. Try to make it a little more symmetric. See how we have all these nice fun ruffles? It's important too, as you can see, in between where that has the foil, it's very thin. And if you just pull with one finger, you can really mess up this pattern. In this wreath, it's not really that big of a deal, because when we put it in on the wreath form, they're gonna bunch up together. So what you're gonna do is you're going to then flip this over and give it a couple good twists. Excuse me. Okay, let's do that again. You want this curl side down, and then pinch, use your other fingers to kind of hold it still. Pinch, and just, this isn't a race, you can do it nice and slow. And pinch it together. Then you hold it in the middle. Then you have your nice ruffle. Again, take your pipe cleaner, fold it in half, bring it on over. Now see, I don't know if you can see this, all these little strings, you can cut those now, or you can cut them later, or you don't have to cut them at all. It's just part of working with deco mesh. So hold the bottoms together, flip it over, gently give it a tug, make it form into a nice little round ruffle. Hold it, don't be afraid to grab it, and then just give it a couple good twists. You don't need to get any crazier than that. See, not perfect, it's okay. It's gonna do what we need it to do. See how this already has, okay, scoot that over. Okay, one more time. We're gonna pinch, kind of hold all of it together like this, so it kind of looks like that. And then you just want to pinch and pull, pinch, and then kind of hold it, pinch. As you get used to doing this, you can go faster. And then see how it has the green there? Kind of just eyeball it to where it's in the middle. Kind of put my fingers there so I know as a guide. Take your pipe cleaner. This one's a little bit longer than the other ones because I don't know where my other one went. Hold it in the middle like so. You don't want to hold it too tight because you want to be able to move this however you want. Remember, use 2 fingers. Don't be rough here. You know, you don't want to pull the pattern apart. Give a couple good twists, and there you go. So I went ahead and made up all the other ruffles that we were going to need. And now let's start putting them on our witch hat wreath. So it's important when you're doing a witch hat, when you're doing the brim of the hat, to work from the outside in. It just gives it, if you go from one side to the next, sometimes the placement isn't even and it sometimes looks unbalanced. Sorry, I see one of our a couple of our ruffles here have some phrase there. Okay, so what I like to do is you want to go ahead and separate the pipe cleaners. And I start right here, right at the tip. And now I took the plastic notches off the sides of the witch hat because I like it to have a smoother appearance, but I like to keep them down here because it helps keep your ruffles in place. I know some people like to be able to move them. I like that it keeps them in place, especially here on the sides, like on the tips of it. So I'm going to place my first one right here, between here. I'm gonna go ahead and place it, and then you can flip it over and twist. Here I like to do 3 or 4 twists. And then like to trim it and then push this down because this can scratch your door and poke you, so you don't want that. So then, there we go. I'm gonna go ahead and take another one. Same thing, separate. And then I go over here and I go just right between the notches there. Pull it tight. Remember, don't be too rough because this plastic frame will break. You want to twist it a few times and just trim the pipe cleaner. Then I push that down. I like to make sure when I put the ruffles, I make sure the back sides are up against each other. You don't want it to be like this because then you're not going to see all the colors, which, you know, we want to see the purple and the orange. Okay, again, separate. I usually, it's right here, I usually go right here. So here's the tip, so in that first area. Make sure that it's not smushed. Pull it tight. You also want to make sure if you're doing it this way, we're pushing it from the front and then this is the back side, that you have it lined up right. You don't want it over here to the side because then your ruffle is going to be on the side and not in the front. So you want to be careful if you're doing it that way that your ruffle is in good placement. Again, 3 or 4 twists. I just like to make sure that it's on there securely. Go ahead and trim the pipe cleaner. So I usually do 3 on the one side. Make sure we have all of our ruffles are in good placement. They're not smushing each other. Okay, so I do 3 and then I come on over to this side. You can trim these little stray mesh pieces as you go. Sometimes I do if it is interfering with my pipe cleaner. So again, I'm gonna go here on the top, right here on this side, in between here. So I'm going to put it right in there. Again, make sure that it is facing completely forward. You want everything to look nice and uniform, and you don't want them going in different directions. Okay, grab another one. Go ahead and put it, I put it between, so here's the tip, I put it between these first 2 notches. If you don't feel comfortable trimming your pipe cleaners as you're doing this process, in case you want to move them, that's fine. You don't have to. You can go back and do it, or you can just tuck them in. You don't even have to trim them. They are short enough to where they won't really stick out or cause a problem. Just out of habit, I like to do that. Okay, the next one. Again, we're gonna go through the first two notches on the side. Make sure that it's facing forward. And twist. If you do trim them as you go, just make sure you push them down because it will poke you, and this is still healing. I have a nice cut from one. So again, you want to look and pull to make sure. You want the back side, so if you have two of them, like here are this, when they go up against each other, you want them to sit like that. Okay, so these look good. Now I'm going to go ahead and continue putting these on. Remember, you want to work from the outside in. You will need to have more on the outside bottom, but when I come back, I will let you know how many I used on the top and how many I used on the bottom. Okay, so now that I have the mesh put in, I don't know how, I'll have to count. Sorry, I forgot about that. But I have these 3 extra. So what I want to do is see how the center, I mean, it looks fine. You could completely leave it just like this, but since we have some extra, if you gently pull this apart, you can see the 1 bar. So what I want to do is take some of these extras, push it in there, with all of this here, it makes it a little difficult to find, and it is the one that's pushed down the most, so just take your time. You can find it. Give it a few good twists. And then go ahead and put the other one in. This will be, you'll see the crossbar as well. So you want to go ahead and place it there. So it's right in the center. And of course, good luck finding the pipe cleaners. And I just want to show you, don't be worried if your ruffle doesn't look perfect. This doesn't look perfect. For this project, that's okay that it doesn't look perfect. And don't be afraid, you know, if you smush one of these down while you're putting these ruffles in the middle, they will fluff right back up. Well, darn it, this one's giving me a fit, isn't it? There we go. Again, these middle ones are a little bit more difficult. Not difficult, they're just take a little bit more effort because when you look at here, it's pushed in more. So it's not, you know, as easy. So just gently find the center bar. There we go. And place our 3rd one. Again, if you used all of your mesh around the top and the bottom, that's okay too. You're still, when you use all of these bundles, you will have a nice full brim. Maybe use longer pipe cleaners though, if you're on these. Okay. So now you just want to gently separate, you know, and fluff gently. Deco mesh frays very easily all on its own without being touched. So you just want to be careful, you know, when you're moving these around gently. With the witch hat, I don't think it's really that much of an issue, only because, you know, it's a witch hat. Have you ever seen a perfect witch hat except your 6-year-old neighbor trick-or-treating? Okay. So, some of the foil, let's get that off of there. So now what I want to show you is the tube mesh. Let's set this aside. Now, we're gonna put 6 of these bundles in the brim of this hat. Oops, sorry, I just saw a string and another one. If you try to get every string, you'll be here for weeks. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna put 6 of these bundles in our witch. See, I see a little hole there, so that'll be where that one goes. Now how do we put these together? We're gonna put 6 in the brim and we're gonna put 1 at the top. So you're gonna line them up. Oops, sorry, let me move that. Let me see. No. Here we go. So you're gonna line these up and hold them like so. And all you're gonna do is make a circle. Bring the other end up, bring the other end up, so it looks like that. Okay, so you have 4 together. You're gonna squeeze them together, hold them tight, and now you have 2 circles. So what you're gonna wanna do, sorry, I'm still trying to figure out where I'm supposed to put all these. Okay, so then just in the half mark, squeeze it together. And then you have your bundle. Again, like we have with the other ones, we're just gonna fold the pipe cleaner in half. I did make these pipe cleaners longer because we are gonna have to go through all these bundles. This I do give 3 good turns, and there we go. Let's make another one. Put them together, hold them, line up the ends like so, squeeze them together. You're left with your 2 circles. You can bring both these over at the same time, or you can do them individually, whatever is easier for you, better for you. Don't be concerned if they're not the same size. You can gently move them around. Not a big deal. Take your pipe cleaner. This part can be a little tricky because we don't have a lot on the ends. And if you want to make your loops smaller, you can do that. Here we go. Super cute. So now let's make sure we put 1 to the side. I like this one. And that's going to be on the top of our witch hat. So now we're just going to figure out placement. I usually do, since we have 6, I usually do, sorry, these strings are driving me bonkers. I do 3, I do 1, 2, 3, and then I usually do 1, 2, and 3. So let's go ahead and we're gonna separate our zip ties. Well, I'm sorry, our pipe cleaners, but I didn't do a really good job there, did I? Let me go ahead and see if I can. Oops, nope, you don't want to be any closer. There we go. I think that's as good as it's gonna get. Let's see. There we go. Sorry, I'm still learning all of this, but I wanted to share a tutorial with you on how to make one of these because they're so fun and they're so popular. And since I did put together a couple kits for my Etsy shop, I just wanted to be able to show you how to do these so you know that it's not hard at all. And again, you don't have to put these in there. If you don't like how this looks or you're not a fan, you don't have to do it. I like the tube mesh, especially this fuzzy textured tube mesh. So then you're just going to gently find an area in between two of your bundles. You're gonna look for the bar, the black bar, and then just go ahead and attach it the same way you did your ruffle bundles. One of the good things about trimming your pipe cleaners as you go, as you put the bundles on, is as you put on your ruffle bundles, is when you do go to put these on the tube mesh, it's easier to find your pipe cleaners because, you know, there's less in the way. So let's see, here we go. There's one, super cute. We're gonna go ahead, separate again, find the center. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just find an area where you can put it. Again, find the crossbar, plastic bar. And you know, you want to be gentle. You don't want to cause that mesh to fray any more than necessary. A lot of times I'll wait till the end of a project to do my trimming of those frays, because if you trim it, it could just fray again, and then, you know, you're constantly trimming it, and it could eventually change the way the mesh looks because you've taken so much off of it. Okay, looking good. Let's go ahead and attach our other bundle. Try to line it up, I do. So about right here on its shoulder. This is tricking me here. Here we go. And just poke it on through. You want to make sure, and this can be a little tricky, that, you know, you do have a crossbar in between. Let me see if I can show that to you. It's hard to see because it's black and everything else is black. But, you know, I didn't want to use a white pipe cleaner because then you would be able to see it. You know, you want everything to blend. So there we go. We have our first three. Going to go ahead. I saw that little bit of a hole here that I don't like. So I'm just going to fill that in. Again, crossbar. I hope that when you guys make this, whether you bought the kit or not, or you're just, you know, looking on YouTube for how to make a witch hat wreath, please send me a picture. I would love to see it. Or if you have a better way of doing something or a tip, love to hear about it. You know, we learn from each other. Not one person has all the answers. Everybody has a different way of doing things. So I would love to hear from you. Here we go. There we go. If you notice that these are creeping up a little bit, don't be afraid to just, it will inevitably be further off the frame. That's just how it goes. Okay. Look here in the center, and you know, if you want these to be up here and close, if you want this to be more on the bottom, Again, up to you. You don't even have to put it in there like I'm doing it. No, I don't have a squirrel in the house. That is my cat telling me he's hungry. He likes to make those little twirling, whatever those noises, trilling. He's not a Maine Coon, but he does trill. Do any of you guys have pets that like to help you craft? I have to be honest, I've had a couple jump up here, but surprisingly not as bad as I thought it was gonna be, so that's a good thing, right? Maybe they deserve a little extra wet food tonight. It's a little treat. Okay, putting in our last bundle. Maybe. Here we go. Artificial nails can sometimes be helpful when you're crafting because you can grab these, but a lot of times they're in the way. I have bigger, fatter fingers, so I tend to like my nails. That way it doesn't, it's not a fan of how my hands look without them. All right, so let's see. There we go. Here is that. Okay, let me see. Let me try turning on this light, see if it helps. I don't know, maybe. Okay, so now let's go ahead and put our bow on. Now, I know I should probably wait for the bow until after we put the legs on because we're going to smash the bow a little bit. But I want to be able to show you how to refluff your bow. Okay, so I like to put the bow first. You want to get your pipe cleaners ready. And you want to set and see. I like it like that, about right there. So if you want to put your bow on this side, in the middle, it's truly up to you. I just prefer to put it over here. So I've picked my location. I kind of use I keep a little grip on where I want it. And then I use the very fancy meat thermometer. Yep, because it has a pokey end, but it's not too pokey so it won't damage it. But you can use a pencil, a pen, a skewer, a chopstick, anything. Because what I just like to do is poke a little hole here and I move it in a circle, kind of keep my thumb right there so I can see it. And that way it just kind of breaks up the mesh a little bit, especially this mesh because it has the foil in it. And then I just go ahead and hopefully thread it on through. Gently move your mesh out of the way. And I know it is hard to see, but I have it threaded through there. And then I just pull it nice and tight and give it just, I try to do really tight because I don't want anyone to pull that off. And then trim it. There will be a little piece of your pipe cleaner left. Just tuck that in. You're gonna wanna tuck it in a little bit under the mesh, and that way it won't poke anybody or anything like that. And since we're right here, we're gonna go ahead and put our door hanger on it. I just take a pipe cleaner and fold it like so. I pinch it to about what size I want the door hanger to be. And then I turn it a couple times so it looks like that. There we go. So it looks like that. And then I find a spot on the back where I want the hanger, usually in the middle. And what I do, this is tricky, and if this is going to be for yourself, you can go ahead and just hook it on the outside. It doesn't matter, you know, because you're the one that's going to see this. I put my bow on upside down. Okay, so all I did was twist this. Since I had already cut the pipe cleaner off, I just twisted this and put it in the right spot. Can't believe I did that, but of course I did. So now to put our door hanger on, make sure you twist it a couple times. And I go in between here and just find a spot to poke this through. As long as you're gentle, you're not going to ruin anything. Just gently move it back and forth. Pipe cleaners like to bend on you, so there we go. So I pull that through, and then right here where it stops where we twisted it, we're going to go ahead and twist this a few more times. You want to make sure you twist it really well because you don't want it to fall off your door, or if you're making this for a customer. So I twist it all the way down, and then I just gently tuck it back in, and then you just readjust your mesh, and there you go. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make our topper. That's where our spider comes in. So we want our spider to hang just like so from the top. But what we're going to do is, you can take a pencil, anything, and we're going to, about 3/4 of the way down, we're going to put it on our pencil, and you're just going to want to wrap it. Then gently slide your pencil out. Straighten that out a little bit, or I want it curved just a little bit more. One more time there. Okay, so we have it curled. What we're going to do, the mesh should be thin enough up here to where you don't need to put a hole, but you can always just put a hole right in the top. Go ahead and push this through. Sometimes I wiggle it back and forth. It gets stuck sometimes, so you just need to work with it a little bit. So then you just pull it down, and I just twist a little bit. And then I want to trim it. And here's your spider hanging. Oh, thanks for turning that on. And then you're going to want to do the same for your topper, your little tube mesh. Trim the pipe cleaners. And I pulled this out. Okay, let's try this again. Poke this through. Let me get my meat thermometer. Poke a little hole there. See, crafting is not perfect. You make mistakes and then you just fix them and move on. Not the end of the world. Of course, you try to catch them before you've trimmed your pipe cleaner. Okay. There we go. So now we have our tube mesh and our adorable spider. Okay, let's get everything to make the legs and then we'll be finished. Okay, so now let's get started on the legs. First, I want to say the witch hat does not need legs at all. You can stop and be done with this adorable witch hat. This is super cute, doesn't really even need them. But if you'd like to put them on, I am gonna go ahead and show you how we're gonna do that. So if you wanna do the witch legs, but you're not interested in going through the steps of making these puffy, you can leave them as is, that's fine. You don't need to do anything. Let me grab a pair. Sorry about that. So here is a pair completely connected. So you can go ahead and put this on your witch hat just like this. You can use this to go ahead and use a zip tie and connect it to the back. So you can just have them just like that. There's nothing wrong with that. Put that over there. You also could use foam board. Let me see. Here's a piece of foam board, cut up of course, but you can cut this out and you can, because this has an opening, you can go ahead and cut it out and put that in there. You could even just use plain cardboard if you'd like. You know, it's completely up to you how you want to go ahead and fill these, if you want to fill them at all. So now we see that this leg is attached this way. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and just remove this. See how easy that came off? So don't be intimidated, don't worry about that. This is easy to come off. So there we go. And now what we can do, so we need the shoe to go this way, and we can also twist this around because see how this line is? Okay, I'm gonna see if you guys can see this. Has a little bit of a seam. So this, you know, you can go ahead and turn this. Now, since we want this to be the front and this the back, we're still going to do this, flip this over. We're gonna go ahead and start by using our glue gun. And what we want to do is we want to trace the outline of the shoe. Here we go. So you don't want to get too close to the edge, and you don't want to use too much glue. If you do, it could seep out the edges. And we can fix that, not a problem, but just try to be careful. Had a little drop of glue there. And what you want to do is get my head out of the way. That'd be pretty helpful. And just go ahead. This isn't a rush. This isn't, you know, you don't have to go real fast, but go ahead and trace it. And then you just want to gently put your shoe on top. You want to be careful, line it up the best you can, and then just hold some pressure there. Press down. While that's drying a little bit, we'll go ahead and put this out of our way. So if you've ever worked with polyfill, you know that sometimes it can bunch up a little bit and not be as smooth as we would like when we stuff something. So this is a little time consuming, but we don't really need a lot for this project, so we can do it pretty quickly. And what you see me doing is I'm just breaking this up. I'm thinning out these bunches here. And that way it'll thin everything out. You know, we can go ahead and get some more ready. Just little pinches. Because if you put it in there like that, it's just going to bunch up a little bit. At least that's my experience. And you know what? You could do the witch legs like that. Witches have knobby knees and everything, right? So, I mean, this is your project, however you want to do it. This is just how I prefer to do it. So I'm just breaking up these fibers. Spread, you know, just trying to make it thinner and a little more stringy. So what I use to help, you know, a witch's shoe is a little pointy. You can use anything. I use a pen sometimes. I use the end of a paint stick. You can use a chopstick. But what you're gonna wanna do is take just a very little bit. Let me move it. So just the smallest amount, and you're gonna wanna put it just, stuff it just inside there. It can be tricky. You know, this is not something that's done in a hurry. You know, you can use your finger to push it in there. Whatever you use, you just wanna be gentle, because remember, it's just hot glued there. So, and see, I didn't get a good bond with my glue gun, and that's okay. We can just go back, put another small bead of hot glue, gently press here. Be very careful because, you know, there are different temperature glue guns. You know, mine is a high temp. And you don't want to burn yourself. If anyone's been burnt by hot glue, you know that it is not a fun experience. I never know if I should get the glue off right away or if I should let it dry. I just usually panic and wipe it off. So now what you see me doing is just taking the end of this paintbrush and I'm just gently pushing this up. Now you don't have to seal this up as far as I did. I probably sealed it a little too far to be able to get in there really good. But just gently you know, you could easily go through the seams here. So, you know, but if you do, that's okay too. You can just go ahead and fix it. So now just add a little bit more. I'm going to use my baby finger here, just gently to encourage the fiber fill to go in. Polyfill, fiber fill, stuffing, you know, whatever you want to call it. So you don't want to fill it too much because we still need to put glue along the sides here. And it's just easier if we don't have a ton of filling in the way. So again, just take your glue gun, go slow. You don't want to squeeze your trigger of your glue gun, you know, all the way down, because then of course you're going to get, let's see, I don't think I have glue here. You know, you don't want to have too thick of a line of glue. And just go ahead and put it on there, gently push down. Same with this over here. If you hear that clickety-clackety sound, that is my dog. His name's Gator. He is a lab mix and he is 14 years old. He is our old man. Okay, so here we go. We just usually, so when you're doing both of these, you could glue, put the glue on here, and while you're letting it dry, you can move on to the other one and then, you know, keep switching back and forth. Okay, so I'm going to take some more of my filling here. Yeah, I think that's good. And we're just going to gently stuff this. And how much stuffing you put is completely up to you. If you want it to be a real, you know, to look real poofy, then you're gonna wanna put more fiber fill in here. This one, I don't want it to be too much, so I'm just putting a little, just enough to give it a little bit of a poof. Let me see if I can show you, if you can get an idea. See, it's just a little bit. You can, you know, it's not much. But in other ones that I've made, I have filled it, you know, nice and full. You know, with most things, with crafting, it really is a preference. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and add some more glue here. This is a little opposite for me, so it's a little tricky. Go ahead and put this down. After this is done, see how these, it's hard to see, but these don't line up completely. You can't really tell, but if it does bother you, you can go ahead and trim, you know, that little bit of extra off. I think this is just a real easy way to spruce up the Dollar Tree witch's legs, because it can be pretty expensive when you're purchasing pre-made witch's legs, especially if they're part of a hat, you know, a set that has a hat and things like that. So here we go. You can see I'm just, you know, stuffing a little bit. And remember, before you know, you don't want to stuff it to where the stuffing's up here and then you're trying to glue, because sometimes, you know, fiber fill and felt, you know, they stick together like crazy and they can be sticking out. And while we can cut that off, you know, you just want to try to be careful. Go ahead, see, like I just did, pulled that there. After you put the glue on, you do want to work kind of quickly, because hot glue sometimes can dry quickly and then it leaves a raised strip of glue. And if that happens and you don't like it, you can always just take the felt apart and re-glue it. You know, you can take the strip of hot glue off. I'm a little concerned that this is going to come apart while I'm showing you because the glue isn't completely set. But just, you know, just continue to gently, you know, you want to make sure you get to the edges. You know, that's why I usually use a paintbrush or a pen, because you can stick it in there and then just move it side to side, and that helps spread it out as well. You can push it in there and see, turns out pretty good. I'm just gonna keep on doing this. Okay, I'm gonna finish gluing our foot here. Okay. Here we go. We are getting ready for a hurricane. Hurricane Ian is making its way towards us. We are under the cone of uncertainty, which I'm thankful for, but I also feel for all the people that it is going to impact directly. We'll get some storm surge and some pretty bad storms, but we're not going to have the eye of the hurricane over us. So I just pray for all the families that are going to be affected by it. We went through Irma a few years ago, and thank God we weren't. Our home kept us safe and didn't have any damage, so we were very, very blessed and fortunate. Okay, so let's start talking about how we're going to, see, I have the glue out a little bit, how we're going to reconnect our leg. So now if we look at this leg, you know, you want to see where the stripe is. So it's hard to see here, but a little bit of the black stripe is there. Okay, so now remember, this is the back of our shoe. Here's the front, and here's the back. So we want the back facing us. Now, what I do, because I want this to be open so that I can stuff some polyfill down there and have it come down in here. If you don't want to do that, that's fine too. Again, it's a preference. So I'm going to put a line of hot glue here, and I'm going to join the top here. Remember, just take your time, and you just want to approximate where that is. So now I'm just going to go ahead and seal the top. There we go. I hope that you guys are enjoying this and that this is easy to follow. Please let me know if I didn't explain something very well or if I was confusing with something, because it certainly is not what I want to do. And you know, I'm still early into making videos and tutorials, so I want to make sure that I make it easy to understand and easy to follow. I know some of you are beginners, some of you are experts, some are in between. Maybe you're a crafter just looking to try your hand at a new fun craft. And these witch hats, I mean, these are fun to do even with your kids and grandkids. It really is just a fun Halloween project. And you can make it as simple and as elaborate as you would like. Okay. Whoops. Well, don't do what I did. I only left a tiny little hole here. So, while that's not wrong, it's just gonna take a little bit to get our filling where we want it. And you need to be a little more gentle. So let's just try to get all of this here. See how the boot is bending here? I don't have enough filling there. So I'm gonna use my pen and just stuff it. Now you can make these boots as simple or as elaborate as you would like. You can add, you know, those craft pom-poms. You could add those. You could add some glitter, like the strips of beads, glitter beads. I know Dollar Tree has those. They have the pom-poms as well. You can leave them as is, which I like. I think they're super cute as they are. See, I'm just breaking that up a little bit. It's really not as big of a deal when you're stuffing the shoe. Remember, you want to try to get up here in the corner so that everything's filled out, the same as the other one. But like I was saying, it's not as big of a deal here in the shoe, but when you're stuffing the leg, because this is such a thin material, it could end up being a little lumpier. While that's not wrong, and it can actually be probably super cute, because like I said, witches are supposed to have knobby knees anyway, right? So now the shoe is done, so I'm just going to put that like so. And there we go. There is our foot, our witch's heel, witch's shoe. So there we go. And you can, you know, once this completely dries, you can always, what I like to do is just rub back and forth, and it helps break up and distribute that stuffing. See, some of the stuffing actually came out here at the top. So now what I like to do is, this runs real easy, kind of like pantyhose. So, you know, I just want you to be gentle and just roll these down. Roll them down, you know, about 3/4 of the way. And this is where you can also decide, here, I'm gonna push this stuffing back there. But this is where you can decide just how long you want the legs to be. You know, you can have them short, you can have them long. I keep mine a little bit on the longer side, and you should expect to leave 2 or 3 inches extra at the top. So when you're measuring how long you want your legs, remember that from where we connect them to when you see them is probably 3 inches. So you're gonna not wanna, if you want this much showing, you're gonna wanna make sure that you put at least 3 inches longer on here. You don't have to stuff the entire 3 inches. I would stuff probably 2 inches, but that way your legs don't end up shorter than you wanted. You know, and before you cut them to trim them, definitely measure to make sure you have the right size. Once you cut, you know, it's hard to fix it. It's better to just keep them longer until you know for sure. So after you go ahead and separate the polyfill, see how it goes in there with very little like bumpiness. Sorry about that. I have a cat that likes to be a pain in the butt. So we're going to just go ahead and keep separating our polyfill. Okay. Go ahead and stuff it in there. I wouldn't stuff all of it because we need to push it down. We want to make sure. There we go. See how there's a nice flow there? It blends easily and smoothly. Okay. Let's go ahead and I would have had this done beforehand, but I wanted to make sure you saw, you know, how I prepared the polyfill, and so you could see that. Are any of you guys quilters? I know that you probably deal with maybe the polyfill sheets probably more than anything. I know my mom started playing around with quilting. She was always a sewer and a crocheter, just a crafter in general. Knitting, crocheting, sewing, she was a whiz at it all. I've never been able to get the hang of knitting and crocheting, but my daughter crochets, which is amazing. I love it. Love that she picked that up. Okay, I'm going to be right back. I've got to get more polyfill. Okay, so I went ahead and just finished the leg. I left a little bit where there's no filling. Now you're going to need your square. And what we're going to do is get your other leg that you have completed. You're going to want to, let me see if I can zoom out here. Oops. I'll get that right one day. So you're going to want to line these up next to each other, and you're going to want to see, okay, so let me do this so you can see. This is going to line up. You're going to fold this in half. You want to take your hot glue, put it on there just like that. And what I do is I just lift this and put this right on there. And that makes them even. And then you're going to want to put, you can put it up here, over here. It doesn't really matter that the witch leg is centered with this black piece of felt. Here we go, just go ahead and put that over there and press. Because you're not going to see this. All right, so while this is drying, we'll put this right here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to attach this using one of our zip ties. We're going to poke a hole just in the top. Be very careful. You can start the hole there. See how I have it completely through, and turn it however you want to do this. You know, just please be careful. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a little hole. And you're going to put your zip tie. You want to make sure it's facing the correct direction. So you want the flat side up and put it through the hole like so. And there you go. Okay. Now get your witch hat out And what we're going to do is when you pull this down, you'll see this bar right here. That's what we're going to attach it to. Now you can use, so they have the center bar here, and then you have one on each side. That's what I use as a guide. I connect mine to, I think maybe, nope, I completely lied. So use these two center as your guide and put one on each side. However it looks good to you is how you should do that. And remember, we're attaching this to the back of the wreath. So you want to make sure that you have this facing the right way and the shoe going the right way. So we're just going to find that bar. You're going to take the zip tie. I'm not even gonna joke with you. I put this in the wrong way. It doesn't really matter, but to make it easy on yourself with knowing what direction it goes, it just works out better. And what you're going to do is just put it underneath that bar. Easier said than done, especially since I'm right-handed. Here we go. You can always grab a pair of needle nose pliers. I do have a pair, but. So then what you're going to do is, when you have it hooked on that bar, you're going to connect your zip tie and just pull. Pull it tight and then just trim this off. And there you go. It's normal because your mesh kind of pushes out a little bit that your leg looks like that on the back, but nobody's going to be able to tell. And this still gives us a little room here. So now let's go to our other leg. The glue's still a little bit warm, but that's okay. No one's going to see this, but some of the stuffing is hanging out a little bit. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to put a hole through. There we go. Try to make the hole a little bit bigger. Again, we're going to put the the zip tie through, like so. We're going to find our bar, and then I think this looks good. So I'm going to attach my zip tie right here between these two notches. Again, put it through. You know, you want to pull your ruffles down here. Go ahead, trim. This definitely needs a good fabric roller. And so here we have her. Now I'm going to show you what we can do with our pick. You can knock the camera over while you're getting your wire cutters. You want to keep the stems a little bit long because you want to be able to put them deep in the mesh so that they have a good grip. Now these that are a little bit, that are still in part of the wrapping, it rips pretty easy. So you can just, that one was real easy. Pull them apart like so. And then you want to trim them as well, because while we want them a little bit longer, you don't want them too long, because then they'll stick out of your wreath a little too far. Okay, so now you just figure out the placement. Let's do this. So I wanted to show you first how to fluff the bow. Just gently take your 2 fingers, put them in, and you can gently tug to the side. You can spread your fingers like you're doing fake scissors. Do that as well. And then that'll just fluff up your bow just perfectly. Okay, so now let's figure out our placement. Now remember, crafting isn't perfect. It should be fun, so don't get too technical. I do like balance, I'll admit. So the 2 larger ones I will probably put on either side. You know, you just put them in different areas. Like this is still a little bit too long, so I'm going to trim that off. And just put a little bit of hot glue and then place it. I try to put them in between the ruffles. That way you can go ahead and push the ruffles together and it will hold really well. You have the glue stick, I don't know, threads. They remind me of spider webs, kind of. Okay, so now I'm gonna look over here, and I think I'm gonna put it right here. Let's see. Again, this is just a little bit too long for me. Yeah, I like that. And remember, don't get too caught up in the placement. I know when I first started crafting and making wreaths, it would take me forever. I would just be so concerned about the placement. You know, just don't let it consume you. Just have fun. Okay, so I'm gonna trim this one a little bit. Let's see, I'm gonna put this. This is really close here, so I wanna put it right here. Have some glue stick remnants here. If you see when you're doing this that you have a stray string, just pull gently on it. If it doesn't give, then cut it. A lot of these will come off by themselves, you know, just with a gentle tug, but there are many that won't, and then it ends up almost snagging your mesh. And sometimes, depend on this wreath, it really wouldn't make a difference because we want it to be a little messy. But if you were doing, you know, a formal wreath where you want everything to lay nice, it may not look as good. It could ruin it a little bit. So you just want to be gentle. I'm gonna put this one over here. see. I think I'm going to just go right here. I usually do not like to glue things directly to the mesh, but these are really lightweight, so they'll be able to stay just fine. Okay, so this one I'm going to put over here. Again, this is optional. You do not have to put this on here. You can save it for another project. Or you could put it up here as the, you know, the pick sticking out. I don't really like how that is. Just gonna push it in gently. There we go. Okay. Well, here she is. Let me see if I can adjust this without making you seasick. Here is our wreath. We have some more glue stick stuff there. I hope that you all enjoyed making this. I hope you enjoyed the wreath kit. Please let me know in the comments or even email me and let me know if you liked it, if there's anything you think I should improve on, because like I said, this I am beginning, and I would like for you to purchase more wreath kits and watch more of my tutorials. So I would love your tips and tricks. I would like any encouragement. You can also follow me on Facebook and Instagram or TikTok at the Cat's Meow Wreath Boutique. Keep a watch out. I'm gonna have some fall and Christmas wreath kits as well, and I'm also going to be doing tutorials, and I'm also going to be doing some bow tutorials for the upcoming holiday season. Well, thank you again, and I hope you all just enjoyed this and that you keep crafting.